car off and racing.
Look at you.
Oh yeah, I'm getting a bit of a whiz on this thing now.
I love how Vanessa's computer's called Choc Top Computer.
Yeah.
It's a marketing ploy.
Yeah. I can't wait to try the vegan Choc Tops. I've just heard amazing things about them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
I'll get some for you.
And I came home and I thought, I'm sure I have an ice cream. And over the whenever you gave them to us, Tyler went into the freezer and there was only one left. So I think we'll be coming to shop because I thought, I have that vegan one, and there's just nothing left. Yeah. So they're all good marketing. Actually, I was talking to Dee today because they're all obviously in their business, and but she said, the ideal place for those ice creams is petrol stations. Because you're always looking for that alternative, and there's nothing in a petrol station, and everybody goes to a petrol station. So that's next week's marketing. We're all going to petrol stations, going.
Right.
Yeah. Have you? Yeah. So anyway, where would we like to start? Who would like? Anyone got anything to share, or can we have a cup of tea and go home? Anything
nice
up?
to see you all.
Well, there you go, Cara. Off you go.
Well, I guess I could go.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been really busy. And I've manifested a couple of quiet days, which has been really good. And I guess I wanted to, if there was anything, I have the last, I don't know how long, maybe the last couple of weeks, I've noticed a contraction in my throat. And it used to be there sort of all the time. When I first started to meditate, it was just there all the time, and it sort of went away, but it's kind of come back lately. And I feel like maybe there's some connection with my solar plexus and my jaw. So I have jaw lock and stuff at night. And I'm just curious about it because the throat stuff for me, I've always had trouble shifting. And maybe it doesn't really feel that bad. It's I don't know. Yeah, I'm just aware of it.
It's interesting because I've got it, and Vanessa's got throat stuff going on at the moment. So
really?
your timing is like perfect.
Wow.
So you can shift it all through your awareness, and we'll just reap the benefits, I reckon.
Okay, awesome. That's cool.
So my first question that came to me, or thought, would be, so you've said you've had it in the past. Is there a significant point or similarity that you can bring from this point today to that point that it was in the past? Is there similarities going on in life?
Similarities. Yeah, I think it's related to pressure, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting with throat, because most of our logic is speaking up or needing to speak out or whatever, that stuff, and it's not as if we don't not do that. So it's kind of like
it's funny.
But so the pressure.
I was just thinking back to, and I can actually feel my solar plexus a little bit now too. I remember it when I was at uni and I was doing a double degree and working and feeling stressed and feeling a pressure to get the best marks, to do really well at everything. And I don't know, it was at a time in my life also when I first started to meditate and I became aware of it. So I don't know whether yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
It is what it is, and we can play with it.
Yeah.
Expectation of self stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of get from it.
Mm.
It's interesting that you can go to your throat but get it to your solar plex. That's kind of pretty cool. So, and the expectation of self back then and performance with your uni would kind of go into your business today. Would that be a similarity?
Yeah, I think because the last couple of weeks have been quite busy, and I've had to I've had to say no to a few people, which I've never had to do. Like I just couldn't see them. I couldn't fit them in.
Okay.
But then I would feel like, oh, I should juggle, I should work. And then that pressure comes. Yeah.
And so if you went in to the throat and speaking out and saying no, would that make sense?
I hate saying no.
Yeah. So maybe that as much as there's a storyline with the pressure and the expectation stuff, the similarity in jobs and stuff, but if we take it simplicity, as we're saying, there's something that we need to get off our or speak or say, which is, enlighten me with mine, maybe that could be simple saying no. But there could be, that could be the simple thing is that's, that whole self-respect and that self-value and that self-worth, and it's okay to say no. Do you feel that it's got something to do with that? I love it.
Yeah, and I think there's also, I can feel like maybe I'm a bit angry about it.
Which would go to the expectation of self.
Yeah, there's
that liking to be there for everybody and and do that, which I think we all can put our hand up for that, really. Vanessa, we should feel fine after tonight.
And Kara's got that beautiful light.
I know, she's
shining.
Oh, it's just my lamp.
You look quite ethereal.
Oh, that's funny.
I just moved it a bit. Jumper and
yeah, I got all crazy.
Yeah, so no, that's where I'd go with it if it was me.
Yeah,
Which it is me. I mean, I probably need to say no too. Sorry, Gabriel. No, I don't want to do that massage I did today, but I did it anyway.
Too late.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, that would make sense, and it would, for me, it would bring it all together. I'm just curious though, with your solar plex stuff.
Yeah.
Why it connects there? I mean, that would be another interesting journey. Like it is irrelevant, but the curiosity in the solar plex, and so if what's the solar plex mean for you as an energy and understanding and stuff? Maybe share that.
Okay. So I think when I feel stressed or overwhelmed, that's where I feel it. And when that happens, I notice a connection to a locking in my jaw when I'm stressed.
So that's where you hold it.
Yeah. And so sometimes when I focus on my throat, my awareness goes down to my solar plexus. I don't know though. Yeah. And then with that overwhelm, that's when I get angry, when I feel really overwhelmed.
Yeah. And I mean, so you can see how work's triggering all these to play back to you.
Yeah.
So theoretically, it would be just a simple no, do you think? And being okay with that no?
Yeah.
I loved how it would shift just in the yes, it's all sorted. I can go to bed tonight and it's all gone. It's all done. So here's a contrast though. The expectation and the workload. So I'm just kind of going on this tangent because it's just coming to me in this weird way. yeah, expectation and workload with today's, like, your business as such, in comparison to uni stuff.
Yeah.
Where am I going with that? Expectation, business, expectation, uni. Okay, so taking the business out of the equation and taking uni out of the equation,
Yeah.
because it's you.
Yeah.
So, which is the whole self-expectation. So at the end of the day, the story's irrelevant. That's what I'm saying. It's just kind of like getting back to the point of that self-expectation and the self-value and the self-worth, and that's just playing out in the arenas. I don't know why I went back to front today, but that's okay. I'm just going to swing with it, because obviously someone's going to listen to it and go, oh, okay, I get it. But yeah. So you're happy, you kind of feel that's right? Yeah, you're kind of happy with that, aren't you?
Yeah, the self-expectation. And I think it is I think there's something about saying no, and I don't want to let people down. And it wasn't, I mean, no. This was like last week anyway. I've had a couple of quiet days, which has been good, but I don't want to let anybody down.
And of course you're not. And I think the reality is we know that, but it's just an old format that we're running, maybe.
Yeah.
What have you two got to say? Isn't that bliss?
I've been playing with where my sore throat comes up, or any pain, my headaches, with and this is from the Presence Process book, asking myself what's the feeling resonance that headache, that throat brings up in me.
Yeah.
And then just trying to sit with that feeling until it disappears.
Yep.
So I'm starting to believe that the work is the messenger that's just coming along to bring up that same feeling that's wanting to be integrated.
Yeah.
And that maybe like you don't even need to know what the story is. But you just need to not keep on squashing it down, but let it
come up.
Feel it and let it come up and let it integrate.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
And I agree. I believe there's a story, and I believe you can trace it back.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to wonder now if you actually need to.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
No, and that's the simplicity is allow it to express itself as its natural format, and allow it to be itself as it is without needing to know anything else, because it too has a life form of its own expression.
Yeah. And maintaining love for yourself, I think, while you do it. So so that you're sitting in that space of it's all perfect and you don't need it to be any different, and just allowing it to be whatever it needs to be.
Agree.
Yeah, I like that, because it also it takes away some of the pressure, which was already there. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure, no story. Nah. That's what I was saying. I think we were discussing the curiosity of the story, because that's my passion and playground. Whereas if I would say to somebody, I said, don't even go there.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and allow it to be. So for me, that's a sport. Like someone goes out and plays tennis, that's a sport, because that's what interests me. So whereas people go out and train every day, my curiosity is, well, how did they get to this, whatever in the story, and that's just a passion of mine. Yet the reality is that if you can just, like you're saying, Vanessa, is just allow it to arrive and be and just express itself and not have any attachment to it. That's one thing that I'm really, really playing in a field of looking too much into with that my throat stuff and bits and pieces, because I'm so curious. That's instead
that's
of
cool.
It is what it is. Awesome. What's yours?
Awesome. Thank you,
Gabrielle.
What's my take on it? Oh, you know, it just made me think of something that resonated the other day, and something you said, Ali, about that I've been watching with myself, is that judgment about something being better than something else. And so that when a state arises, rather than going on, you know, being conscious of what that state is, rather than going, oh, I've got to shift it. It just reminded me of that, of just being with whatever it is and, you know, not making it better or worse. Pretty much as Vanessa said, so that you can allow it to move through you. So yeah, that's what it made me think of. But it felt good. I felt like you kind of landed on where Cara was.
Yeah, you could see it in the humour. Yeah. And the fun. Yeah, and the lightness.
And I loved it. It was just so easy and light.
I had the best day today.
Yeah.
Just on the side note, everything, it was amazing. The whole day just flowed. It couldn't have flowed better. I went to Frankston to get a present for someone, and then I had this thought, I wonder if the angel sanctuary is open. And I rang, and apparently it was open, so I went and I found the perfect present. And then I went to deliver the present, and it was perfect timing, and all these people were there that because it was at Lotus and that I hadn't seen for ages.
Oh, nice.
I don't know, and it had an adjustment, and it was just, everything was, anyway, I had a really nice day.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Just a side note.
So at the end of the day, every day is a nice day or not a nice day, but they're all the same. As a side note.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of very bland life, isn't it? Once you get to that point, okay.
Yeah.
There's actually no flavouring.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I've been really, and I was talking to Marcus about this, and maybe I've spoken to Gabrielle, I don't know, that just things, it's maybe, I don't know, but anyway, it's like everything, there's this, exactly what you said, everything starts to feel, it's like everything is a bit the same.
Yep.
Even though I'm aware of things going on in me, it all sort of, it never used to feel like that, but it's all sort of just leveled out. Yep. Even the stuff that I used to get really excited and everything, it's like, oh yeah, it's like it meets me where I am, or and then when the other stuff happens, it's like I don't know. Yeah, it's not I don't go down as much, or it's just all a bit level.
I think when you're living life probably a bit more full and dived in expression and drama and highs and lows, the road's really up and down, and the big ups and downs. And I found the more that, for me, that I've balanced a way of looking at life, perhaps, the detachment of even the emotions and the feelings and the stuff, but it's still part of me, and I still get emotional, and I still get I have the worry and the fun and the whatever. They're all part of me, yet the high highs and the low lows aren't as deep, and it's almost like even if they are happening, you're actually aware that it's nothing anyway, like it's all the same. So one of my paintings I painted years ago was I called it the flat line, and it was almost the ultimate place to be living. For me, that was the point of understanding through the painting. And it was because it wasn't having the highs and the lows, and it was almost, so what it reminded me of is in death, the death line, when it's straight, and it's like you're living in that line. You know, it's almost like it's flatlining. I know, flatlining on life, sort of thing.
That's cool. Yeah. I have to see that painting.
It looks a bit. Yeah, it's pretty deep. But I again, to look at it, but to understand it from how it was expressed, and I understood it to be, and that's what it was all about. It's not having those big highs and lows, and it's all living the death line.
That's cool.
So I think I think in reflection to life, it just makes it a bit more smoother and what you were sharing, really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We haven't seen you for ages, so you can go all night if you like.
I know, it's been so long.
Oh, that's good. What about you, Vanessa?
I'm quite good. So too, like Karen, like you're saying, I've been feeling quite the less of the up and down and just quite even. I've had a really great week, and probably the most, and I've not had a reaction to anything all week, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
And probably the most interesting experience I had all week was when we bought a ticket for the home lottery, which we do every year.
Yep. And
we always buy it, and I always feel like, if we won it, it would solve all my problems, and we would have this and that, and there's always this. It's like there's an attachment to winning and to it providing happiness. And this week I thought we bought a ticket, and I felt quite different about it. I was a bit curious about what that was, and so I looked at it and I went, I actually had just decided that I didn't need to win.
Mm-hmm.
That yes, it would be lovely and my preference would be to win, but I don't need it, and it doesn't affect my level of happiness or joy in life. And that was a really nice feeling. And the moment I had that thought, I was shopping and the moment I had that thought, I walked out of the shop, and in front of me on the sidewalk was a $20 note.
Yeah. always provided for. Yes. Yeah. Oh, how gorgeous.
And it was like, okay, I get it.
It's okay. They can drop $20 notes all the way home if you like. They're not.
Like you on the couch and go, I trust I'll get paid for it. I can't remember exactly what your words are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like that, and so it felt really nice.
Yeah. No. It's about, I think, you have a choice in participation, but without the expectation or the need.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an experience to be had and not controlled I think the big thing is that whole benevolent outcome that we speak of a lot is just playing life with that and knowing that it's all, and we are all provided for, and we all, even though we don't know what we're doing, like especially in our fields, like at the moment is, we're all transitioning into seeing ourselves living somewhere else and unsure how that's all formulating in its own resources and ways, and just looking for, well, actually not looking for anything, because just tell us as it happens. So I think that it reminds me when we won the house in New Zealand, so the first focused point on deciding that we were going to win the house, and let's put a bit of focus on it and a bit of effort. Okay, so of course there was a few of us involved, and so there was a very much a focused approach, and yet the blessing in not getting it was when the tickets rounded, because we were automatic buyers, so when they came the next time, it was just like, oh yeah, trust it is what it is, and whatever I had kind of, but the biggest thing was ripping it up, like you said, having that non-attachment, ripping the tickets up and putting them in the rubbish, because it just was, and at that particular, the funny thing is my thing too was actually feeding, because it is supporting something that I was obviously being able to support. I think it was like the Heart Foundation or something, so it was all about working, which funnily enough, my mum had a little bit of, supposed heart attack. So afterwards, so it's kind of like the funny things of those sort of things. Not so funny for her, but so I was kind of that detachment and outcomes really important, I think. And the more the more you play it without controlling it, because it's totally doable, controlled as well. But the more you do it without, is those moments, Vanessa, like you walk out and it's just there, and it's just there, because you're not just focusing on it just as that, and it's allowing it to come in its, own free will and own source without you having to,
Yeah.
So that's I still totally I'm an avid for buying house lottery tickets, and I play lotto. I do all sorts of things because I'm all about simple, easy fun. I enjoy it. It's part of participating and having fun and creating, manifesting in any simple. And then in the same token, I'm open to someone coming and buying a painting, or someone turning up and wanting a massage today, like those sort of things. but it's just not formulating the outcome. I just, like I said to you, I think everything's a reflection of you. So if you're in a good place, I know that's even a hard word to say, because a good place, because it's just it's just how you are, life is. That's easier.
Yeah. For me, it's rather than good or bad, it's almost like the less untangled I am in my stories, my memories, my crap.
Yeah. Not crap, but yeah.
Well, then then you can see the difference in how life plays out.
Yeah. If I think the best comparison would be how if you take it back 5 or 10 years, how did you live? Now add 5 or 10 years, how are you living now? And then you'd be able to feel and see and know, because you're experiencing, like, from where you are today and the way you think in bits and pieces is less a need to know than it was 10 years ago. And when you don't have that, that's when everything drops away.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
It does. And interesting that I was talking to you the other night about the Hawaiian practice?
Share that. Yeah.
He said, like, I've always been so big on asking questions, and one of the things he says is that if you ask a question, then you've I can't remember what his words were exactly, but it's almost like the moment you ask a question, you're placing yourself in that place of believing that you don't know everything. And that was really interesting for me, because I thought, I've lived my whole life asking questions, and I believe that got me to the point where I am. There's almost like...
You just took the scenic route.
Yeah, yes, I like that. Yeah. But to go back to that clean slate, then there needs to be no questions. It's just trusting that it's all perfect.
Yeah, I think there's a quote I wrote once. It's about, out of the question becomes the formulation of creation.
Yes.
But is there a difference between asking a question but not necessarily to someone?
No, it's just asking a question to you. At the end of the day, the thought is the creation. So even to have a thought of a question manifests itself into creation. So we're talking nothingness.
Okay. Okay. Ooh. Okay.
That's it.
Wow. Yeah.
And
so that's huge. Not even to have a question. Like, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I could have a question, but if I answer it myself, then I'm not seeking it from externally. But I get what you're saying. To even have the question is actually
there is no question.
Separate.
There is no question. Yeah. And once there is a question, like you say, there forms a separation.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Vanessa?
And I was going to say that I believe that every thought is a question. Like, even if it's not framed as a question, it's asking a question.
Well, it's a manifested energy, so therefore it's something.
Yeah. So it's returning to that place of no thought, isn't it? Rather than
to the nothingness. I was lucky to sit at a funeral once, and and
sorry, I just haven't heard that ever.
Yeah, probably. I just got what I said. I was lucky to sit at a funeral once. Anyway, I was watching. We were basketball referees, and one of our fellow teammates had passed away, and he was very young. And so I was sitting there, and I mean, this guy, one of our teammates, got up and spoke, and it was just the connection he spoke was very humbling for me. But I was in this kind of, alley focus at the time, and I could just see this white thing formulate out of here and become like a thought bubble, and it just disappeared, and I was like, wow. And that's when I got really curious about, that thought. Even if there's no words, the thought behind it, and there was automatic formulation I was seeing in the LA vision at that particular time. And it was very heartfelt, because it was more a connection and stuff. So even more to what he was saying, there was thoughts behind that even that were firing out, and I was just like, oh my God. So yeah, again, it's that nothingness, going back into the 0 point, literally, which there's a whole lot that comes and goes. I suppose the best place for someone with a busy mind would be to sit there and just allow it to be, without hooking into needing, I want to be curious about that one. I want to be curious about that one. Those thoughts, which then become more and then play out, because that's all creation is, really.
Yeah.
Very nice. I like that. I like that. There was also a really cool thing you shared about the dude. Something else about him. The whole was it a healing thing that we were speaking about? Or have I...
It's an ancient Hawaiian practice where the belief is that if you heal yourself, then you heal anything that turns up in your life, that that you've created it, no matter what it is. And it's the 4 statements. So it's saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, for anything that turns up in your life.
I think we learnt that at Lomi Lomi. You probably would have did something similar in your Hawaiian course. I'm more fascinated by the healing of just being, and we went on to talk about, I like sharing this tonight, because we've got all this interested mindset, and it's a bit further stretched afield. The guy that did healings walked into the psychiatric ward, or what it was. There was a ward. Same guy?
Yeah.
Okay, can you share that for Cara?
Yeah, so he, this guy, Dr. something Lou, his name's quite complicated, but it gets shortened. He went into a psychiatric hospital in somewhere, so I'm a bit vague about details.
That's all right. Yeah.
It doesn't need to be. It's just a story.
Yeah. The patients were quite out of control, and they were having to be restrained, and it was a horrible place to work. And all he did was read the patient's files, and whatever emotion came up in him when he read them, he processed it, and the whole ward changed.
Wow.
So it's a documented story. There's quite a lot of evidence about it.
How did he process it?
So just doing the statements. So for whatever came up in him, he just went, I'm sorry, I love you.
Oh, those statements. Oh, wow. That's incredible.
And the whole ward changed.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So he's an amazing guy to listen to, and he talks a lot of similar stuff to what Ali talks about. So he talks about 0 point, and anything that turns up in your space is yours to deal with, and all of that.
It's just nice. for my own ego to feel somebody else thinks that way. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. I can say that in all fun, but the reality is that it's nice to share different how people come to it in their own way, in their own system, in their own thing. But it's taking everything from the limited state to just making it unlimited. And there's so many ways, and there's so many ways to live this life, and there's no right way or wrong way, and there's so many ways to experience healing modalities if you want to play in those. There's so many sports you can play. But it's all the same. You know, it comes down and it's all the same because it comes back to you, you know, and so it doesn't matter. Anyway, I liked that. I just thought Cara would enjoy that.
So cool.
Since we were having the late night cuppa and chat, that you know that you can't miss out.
No.
And now everybody can hear it. Anything else, Vanessa?
No.
Nice and cruising.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. No drama, sorry.
Are they dramas? But no, it's a whole different. I felt it, the whole room, different space, different. This is a whole different chat, really, and that's what we're saying. We have our stories and we get an understanding, and then it's just playing. We're actually just playing, more so than what we normally do. Gabrielle, anything in your wisdom?
This conversation's been very helpful because I just had an insight, which I'll share, and then I can feel it at the same time.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I was just thinking, well, initially I had a bit of a heavy heart, and I was like, oh, I knew what it was about, and as I think I've spoken to you all about the fact that I was looking at putting Paddy in daycare, and I had thought that had meant that I had to get him immunised, and I started the immunisation process. But I was trying to find an option which didn't mean he had to be immunised, and I had this thought of, I bet you I have to completely surrender, and then an option will arise. So So the night before I was going to get him his first immunisation, I was having a conversation with someone, and they said, oh, I actually think the daycare I take my child to doesn't require immunisation. And I was like, you know what? I'm so surrendered to this, doesn't matter. And then, so I went and got his first one done. And then I kind of was questioning myself about how okay I was with it. And I know I've had conversations with each of you about it. And, and it's been funny because I've been attracting some comments that I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I had to organise a few things to get it started, his actual daycare, and there was a few hurdles, and I was having a bit of a reaction to them, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I kind of passed through the hurdles, but today I was like, today I ended up ringing the daycare that this person had told me about, and they're like, yeah, we'd be happy to take your son without immunisation.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my God.
Oh.
So you're not gonna give him any more? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I feel really emotional.
What's the emotion for? Oh, do you want to share? Oh, so sorry, I'm just like.
Yeah, no. I feel really emotional about it. Oh. Yeah. What's the emotion? It feels like what is it? It feels like sadness, but also relief. Yeah.
Sadness as in?
What's the sadness?
Oh, there is no story to all those that are watching, but we're having one.
Yeah, I don't even know.
That's okay.
I don't even know.
That's cool.
I don't even
There is no story there. I answered you. I don't know. The more thing is the reaction to somebody telling you after you've been desiring. This is the thing, when people go looking and wanting something, they can't see what's right in front of their eyes. You know, the opportunities that come to us and unfold to us.
Yes.
And it's the same as the car keys and the whatever we have in every other avenue. Everything's doable. So it sent you on a tangent and a journey and whatever of discovery, and Paddy is playing the game well and doing whatever he's doing. The teaching tool he's brought around. And the reality is, it wouldn't matter where you sent him or whether you got him amused or not. Whatever it is what it is. And likewise, he's attracted this as well. So, you know, that whole scenario. I don't know. Is there a guilt thing there going on? Do you feel? So, how do you sit with him being immunised?
In this moment, I actually feel okay about it.
That's okay then. I wouldn't go hunting anymore then.
Yeah, I actually feel like, but it's so funny. Like, it's such a, I don't know. I was gonna say, it just, the whole topic just feels loaded, but it's like, I don't know. It's even interesting that I'm saying that.
What did you say? It's something.
It feels so loaded.
Feels so loaded.
Yeah.
What feels so loaded?
I know.
What feels so loaded?
I don't know. Yeah.
Like the immunisation injection or something, or what's so loaded? Life.
Oh my God, that actually feels more real.
Yeah, no, it is. That's what it is. Because at the end of the day, everything's just reflecting life to us anyway. So life is it feel loaded. My thing is, I mean, I can't answer for you because it's your, you know, the whole scenario. And I don't think there's a right or wrong. You know, I was just concerned there may have been a contrast in what you're delivering and what you're feeling, and whether, you know, you're doing it for this and you didn't want to do it, you know, like those sort of things.
Yes. Yeah, and that's actually, that's really true, Ali. And I've been like, and I know I've said, like, I've been surprised that I was actually, because I was so anti it, and then I was like, oh, I was quite surprised that I'd really decided to do it and had gone ahead with starting it. And yeah, and I even ran Cara on my way to get his. Oh my God, it's bringing up. I feel emotional again.
Just go with it. It's such a temperamental thing. I think I'm probably a bit blessed because my kids are a bit older, so they've gone through a lot of that, whereas the new children coming in are getting it more heavily. It's a big thing and it's talked about more, and there's so many more scenarios created from that even in itself. You know, and understanding, so we do the best with the information we have at that particular moment in time and where we are at that particular point in our life. So you can never have a judgment of it because that's what it is. Everything's all different in hindsight. Everything's all different in future thinking. Right here, right now, there's a decision, and that's what you've done and you make. And you could go through that in many points of your life. So it's not about being hard on yourself for that. I think there's just a bit of self, probably maybe self-chat, self-bully stuff that's probably playing around in the background. That's you shouldn't have done that, or you say, I'll hold my plaque up here, and you know those sort of things.
Definitely some of that. I think that's definitely some of that. Which I think Paddy's been reflecting back at me. Even like I was telling you yesterday afternoon, and it's actually all been since we had the first session, like the first injection.
Yeah.
It's him reflecting back to me some of my
worries.
Yeah, some of my self-bullying.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah. And I suppose for me, it's just that I just want to really honor what feels really right for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But in that particular moment in time, that's what you were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't, it's just because,
Yeah.
20 years of programming in one way, and then all of a sudden I have this moment and it's okay. And it's okay. It's exactly okay. And you don't, look, honestly, we all don't know the bigger outcome and scheme of things. And like you said, at the moment, if you're worrying, you'll show you every reason to worry.
Yeah. 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 And there's been that a bit this week.
So has it been more of a focus this week?
Yeah, I feel like it has.
Yeah, okay.
Just because last week was the first, like the Monday was the first injection. Yeah.
Oh, so when did you get it? Monday?
Not the
Monday
Monday,
week.
yesterday, a week ago.
So you've probably looked up all the different outcomes and when things might happen. So are you looking for that? Have you done anything like that? That's okay.
No.
There's some people. So it's like some people get into that in their program, or obviously the stories. So it's kind of like, I know. I could say to anybody, but it's at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's just be aware of what's going on in here for you, I think, and
yes, I think that's exactly what it is.
Stop being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And just trust. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because it is what it is, and so be it. I think there was an interesting one, even taking that away, though. I had a yak with Gabrielle over lunch, and I found a really interesting point of, because I said to her, like, once he goes to a daycare, so this whole daycare thing's really interesting. Who is she without Patty? And I think that was a huge epiphany in itself. And so for me, even with I'm not who I was when I brought up my 3 kids. I'm not who I was when I brought up Tyler, and I'm not, and who I am today is, who am I going to be tomorrow? But at the end of the day is, my kids were a lot of me when I was bringing them up. So whereas like the more modern day current moment mother is more about the balance and respect for themselves and doing and having those times out and doing, there's a hell of a lot better playground for that. Whereas I just was totally boxed into, these are my children, and obviously programmed. Thank you, Mum. And I decided to adopt that policy. Policy. That was an interesting word. And you've had these children, you look after them, that's and that was that whole role and that whole boxing and that whole play that I did. So I admire today's modern woman. I really do. I just think there's so many mums, and the lifestyle today, so many mums out at cafes with their kids and their babies, and the babies are like, week old, and they're out there and it's like, like I probably never left home for whatever. Probably didn't leave home for a hell of a long time. So it's really nice to see, and I think that's where I'm getting to with Gabrielle and that whole who are we without our children? And how many of us get lost in that boat sometimes. So, but there's no wrong or right. It is what it is. Anyway, that was a bit of another ramble. I like him there. There's mellow. It's very mellow in here tonight, isn't it? Hey? What about you guys and feedback on that? Vanessa, you got anything on that?
No, I find the whole immunisation thing quite interesting, and I think I agree that it's just about not being hard on yourself, and I immunised my children, and thankfully I was probably a bit naive, and I just assumed they would be okay, and they were, and I'm quite grateful too that I probably didn't know as much now as then as I know now. I probably would have let my mind get a bit more involved.
Mm. Mm. I think that's it. I think I would have too. Yeah. Mm. Cara, how are you? And down there, what's you got any feedback, chick?
Yeah, I think I've been really in this whole process with Gabrielle and Patty wanting to go to daycare and the immunization thing. I've been sort of really blown away by how Gabrielle's handled it, because I know how she felt about it, and we'd spoken about it and stuff like that. And I was just really, I was just really blown away by it, and how she was holding it and how she was dealing with it. And I learned so much from it, actually. And yeah.
So if you were to take a gem out of it, and an observation on what it taught you, what would it be?
I feel, it's hard to put into words, but it's like, you know how Gabrielle saw the signs, you know, Patty was running toward the daycare, and you know, things started happening, and she noticed, oh, Patty wants to go to daycare. Like, she actually could notice these things, and and see that he'd made a choice, that was what he wanted, and that he was ready for something like that. And so I was really, the fact that she observed that, and she saw that, that was really, it's like I had an appreciation for that. And there's real sense of allowing Patty to be his own person. And I guess I've had this fear that, you know, when I have a child, that I'm going to be really controlling and anxious, and I've been watching how she's bringing up Patty, and I've just learnt so much. And so thank you.
Yeah. And there's no parent, I mean, there are actually heaps of parent books if you want to read them. I never read one, but the reality is there's no written law, and it just is what it is. And you know, it's like somebody said to me, you know, actually was a judge through separation. He said, he goes, you know, the kids are lent to us. They're just given to us. They're not ours to control, you know, to control and bits and pieces. And I get that. I totally get that, what he was meaning. It's just that, and that's why I suppose I always come in and say we're just a vessel for their experience. And literally, well, we are, but we then get so hooked into controlling to save them, which I'm, you know, one of those, and we don't allow them to live. And so it's just that, I actually, a great example, I was at the playground with you the other day, Gabrielle, and I was just saying to her, like, here's this 2-year-old up on this, like, and he's walking around, and he walks up to this like fireman's pole, and it's just a drop off the edge. and Gabrielle's sitting, yeah, and he goes up and he just goes over and has a look and comes back. Now you see, take that back. How old's Carissa? 31. So take back that, you know, like 25 years. I was like a paranoia. I'd probably even take it back further than that, because she would have been like to Patty's age. So you're going about, you know, at least 28, 29 years. You know, I'm sitting there, I would have been like, you know, like that over. And here's what I noticed is the difference. Patty knew. Like, he totally just went far enough, looked over the edge and thought, yep, you know. And I mean, there's no way he would have reached the friggin' fireman's pole. Well, he would have just gone, and I mean, I'm sitting there going, oh, this is going to be interesting in my head, like, and I'm trying to calm myself down because I'm playing the old mother. And Gabrielle's just like, and that to me is, it's just so, like you said, Cara, it's just so empowering. And seeing him, and he was like that all over the place. But the thing is, what I did realize is he's come, like, he has this awareness without any saving how far he can go. It's like just this, and annoying, and people would think, oh yeah, kids don't know that and whatever. No, they probably don't, because we're sitting here we have all this modelling in our head in the way and formulating. But when you have a mother that's a bit more playing from this awareness, oh my God, it's just quite an experience to witness, and it's So this. Yeah. In other words, don't stop beating yourself up because you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
It's a great study.
And it's true. Sorry.
Well, you go, Gabrielle.
I was just going to finish off with that whole thing about he knows limits. You know, he's still working on the choc top. Like, well, I bought it out 3 times, and he'll have a bit, and then when he's done, he'll give it back to me. So it's been beautiful, because when I first gave it to him, I thought, this is interesting. It's a big ice cream. What's he going to do? And he just, you know, he hangs out with it for a while and licks it, and, you know, and then he gives it back to me, and I put it back in the freezer. So we're up to day 3 with the choc top. It's never ending. That's been amazing that he knows. He's like, yeah, I had enough. Give it back to me. Yeah.
Not controlling, so like, instead of, you know, we have this one ice cream and they eat it, or you take it off and eat it, or whatever, and it's whatever. But it's just, I love it. Vanessa, go for it.
I was going to say, there's this great study where they actually put babies who can crawl on a table, and they don't ever crawl over the edge.
Wow.
It's in that age before language, and probably it works best before language. They know where the edge of the table is. Yeah, and how to keep themselves safe.
I know. So it's really fascinating, like when you think about it, because here we are saving them from any experience that may danger them, yet reality is, what if they are already formulated with their own, they are in a GPS. It's us that don't think they have, therefore create that. Pretty cool. That's I like that. Cool. Okay, ladies, what else? We've pretty much sorted. Oh, a question. No, do you know, out of a question comes a formulation into creation? Seriously, you don't want to go there? Yeah, go for it. I love it.
I'm going to ask anyway. So you said before, you know, you about well, this is just a question that I have. Like, let's say you have a lifetime of conditioning about something. Is it possible? I'm asking the question, but I feel like I know the answer, but I mean, I'm asking. You can do. Anyway.
No, you do both.
Yeah. So let's say you've had 20 years of conditioning, and you're used to living your life a certain way, and all of this stuff. Is it, you know, possible for that conditioning to be just gone, like in a single moment?
Everything is. Oh, that's my belief. Everything is. Instant manifestation, instant creation. I probably play that beat of that drum because I believe it so, whether I create it so to the depth of my belief, fractionated not. But if I believe it so much so that it makes it even more possible to see it, and then makes it more possible. So see, like, it's like anything I said to you, once it's done, it's therefore created. And you'll find cases that can go instant healing. People, and it might be a variant of processes of a modality that's got them to that format. And that could be like, okay, so some people might go from smoking to non-smoking, for example, and they say, oh, it can't be done, and then someone just goes and does it cold turkey, bang, stops. So, or they've done a therapy and it stops. The reality is it's always doable. It's only our thinking that stops it from being that way.
Oh, yeah. So
what was your...
I have this belief that you know, with certain conditioning, it's like there's these patterns in the brain, and that they're like, you know, like the I think maybe I remember I mentioned something about this in the podcast, like train tracks, and it's like this circuit, and the train's so used to going along this circuit.
Yeah, it's breaking it.
Yeah, so what's my question? I don't know.
So going back to the conditioning, the breaking up, the lifetime conditioning, and you have this conditioning. So you've obviously got something that you feel that you've got to, is it yours, or are you subjectively looking?
Marcus and I were just having this conversation about it, and we were saying how, so it was coming from this, I heard this channel speak, and he said that, the greatest thing, it was Bashar, I think, and the most shocking realization for a human being is to realize that the fairy tales are true, that you can instantly have what you want, heaven on earth, it's all beautiful. And so then that got me thinking, what if it's just our conditioning that's telling us life is meant to be hard, that life, we have to suffer, that we get sick, that we but oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. But then is conditioning not a justification for the experience in the present moment? Because even it's nothing till we make it something. So we're already perfect here now. It's only because we don't see it that way, therefore it plays out that way. So we will then give it a label, a name, or an experience, which then holds it more structural, which then you have, imagine, 90 million people thinking one way. So imagine the intensity of that experience becomes more reality of that experience. So, and like, obviously the channeling or whatever you listen to, that's the openness to the experience. The fairy tales are the crazy stories we speak. Like I believe, I believe totally someone can, I believe, I walk into a chiropractic clinic and I pick up everybody's bits and pieces and stuff. So by the time I'm on the table, I have a stomach ulcer, I have some chest thing, some pain in arm, some whatever, right? And so obviously I believe it so much so that it does happen to me. So therefore, what used to happen when I had the old chiropractor would come to my body and he'd say, "Radio Ali," and he would, I'd test me out and all the things. He goes, "Oh my God, you've got this going on, and you've got like this and this." And I'm going, "I know." I said, "I reckon I've picked up everybody else's shit before I've got here." And he goes, "Oh, hang on, we'll just get rid of that." And then he goes, "Okay, now I've got your body back." And he goes, "Oh no, you've got this and that, radio." And it's terrible if you go in it for me, because I think I'm too nosy and too curious, and I'm always like in a space. And we were talking about this the other night, just discussion over a cup of tea. It's as simple as having a cup of tea. No thinking needed, no doing anything else, just tuning up for a cup of tea. Everything's mutated back to 0 point in that particular moment. Okay? So if you've got everybody thinking this way, right here, right now, it's all here. So when we hang up tonight, how we walk out of our room and how we talk, think, and be becomes the reality. But if we stay in this space of understanding that it's this easy and play that, then we go out there and we could fly to bed, because we choose to fly to bed. We could click our fingers and a tea would be just there, because it's all doable. It's just that we're consolidated by everything around us. Like I was saying to the ladies the other night, it's probably people are out there doing some weird shit. Like, I mean, there's already people levitating, for God's sake. So the reality is it's all doable. It's just us shifting into that space and staying in that space, but we fluctuate in and out of it because of whatever we're choosing in that moment. Well, because of thinking, literally because of thinking. And again, though, to experience levitating, we can think levitating. It's just what your focus is. But if you are really like the real biology of the cell stuff and the train track stuff, Gabrielle's got that book, Biology of Belief. I don't know if you've read that, but anyway, it's full intense in science and stuff. If Marcus is into that sort of shit, but that definitely talks about, you know, when you pull cells apart and put them in different rooms, and then how they all do their things, and then this one will react and do the same thing, and they don't even have to be together. Do you know what I mean? So it's how powerful. So you can imagine one person here sitting here tonight affecting everybody in the world. Like, fuck, you know, that's how easy it is. It's just because we're, you know, it's yeah. But yeah, I kind of, that's where, okay, that's my spin on it. I better let the other girls, because there's so much wisdom in here. Come on, let's share. Go for it, you two. Okay, I love it. Okay, Vanessa, what's your perspective on this?
I agree with you. I'm beginning to see so incredibly clearly that we're just limited by the stories we tell ourselves. Yeah. And I think that, yes, we could use language to create miracles. I think that possibly being in that 0 point is the better place to create them from. And again, I think that's about, we had the conversation about intentions the other night, because the book I was reading also said, he said that he doesn't believe in intentions because they're limited by your memories and what you already believe. Yet if you get back to 0 point, then you've removed all of that and you open yourself up to possibilities that you might not even have thought about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cool.
Gabrielle.
I don't know if I have anything more to add to that. I was just
absorbing.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about how powerful I was, and how, you know, particularly having the insight that I had tonight about beating myself up, and it just kind of makes sense about everything that I've attracted over the last 7 or 8 days. So it's like, it just keeps getting reinforced.
Yeah.
How much we're, you know, moment to moment creating our own realities. So.
Yeah, and like, and I'm doing the same thing. And like I said to you, that's what's interesting, carries on with the throat thing. And I just said to Murray tonight, God, if this just doesn't sort out in the next, I'll be back at the doctor's, because I'm just like, dude, this is like, and it's a simple form of allowing, but my focus is on that. So while your focus is on it, it's just brewing, and I totally know it, you know, whatever it is, it's doing its thing. So my thing in life for me is, okay, fine, if this, because let's face it, there are a lot of people that do overthink like I do. It's giving you, I mean, there's lots of things you can meditate, you can do all sorts of bloody things. But the reality is, if you've got some form that gives you peace in the moment, and if it's turning up at a doctor's centre going, okay, look, I give up, I'm fucking, this is going on, and I'm just like losing the plot and emotional and all over the place, then just do it. And then that may be just the peace of mind that you need, that whatever they say, you know, but then it's just like, it's gone, you know. Or in my case, they tell you everything's fine and you're like, shit, this is like, really? Like, really? There's nothing wrong. Really? So it's where your focus goes, energy flows, are the old saying, and it doesn't matter how much you know, it's still a choice. That's what I'm saying. You know, we're all human, it's still a choice. I mean, I think of people like Louise Hay, her focus was all about affirmations and talking herself and, you know, talking herself good, talking herself positive. I don't want to play it, even though I've created affirmations and I get it, and I don't want to play in the focus of it. I want to play in that focus of 0 point without any focus. That's probably because that's a playground that excites me. That's a playground that so it's just recognizing that you still fall into that if you want to, like, which I've obviously chosen to in the last couple of months. Yet the reality is, I know what that playground feels like too, and because I believe in all these weird fucking things that are doable. And the funny thing is, I'll think about something, and then like 5 years later, somebody will be doing something that I've thought about, like, and I was like, you know, like somebody's just taken it to that next level.
Yeah.
And it's not even a level, it's just another experience to be had out of nothing. So yeah, it's how you want to play, and it's not being hard on ourselves, or sometimes just writing it, like you say, Vanessa. I think that whole embracing and allowing it to express itself instead of holding it down, and allowing things to come up, allowing things to be what they are without any story, any thought. Obviously for me, it's my curiosity is, you know, curiosity kills the cat or something, isn't it? I know. But anyway, I kind of treat that as a playground, though, don't get me wrong. That excites me. That's why we're here tonight. That's what I do. That's what I love. That's a passion. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because it's and then I don't even know when it's going to happen. So you know, it is what it is. And I just don't want, anybody that's watching this is just like, just don't overthink things, and just realize that, and don't limit, you know, not that it's not even thinking about that. That's what I think I've said in a previous one. It's not even having that thought, you know. It's stripping everything back and just allowing everything just to be, you know, and turning up for what it is. That's the bigger thing, I think. Just turning up for what it is, never knowing what it is, and appreciating what it is, and experiencing what it is if you choose to, because we always have choice. So yeah, God, that was a good ramble. Radio. So if all of you can finish off on a ramble, there we go. I've done mine. Look at Gabrielle, she's got her thought process going.
It's true, I was.
Oh, cool. Okay, let's go around, and because it's about 9:16. So let's just cruise from there. We'll go around. So we'll go to Gabrielle, because she's on my the top corner.
The only thing that kind of hit me while you were talking, Al, was I was thinking, anyway, today just more rounding off my story than anything.
Yeah.
But today, when I was telling you before that I went to pick up Patty from my girlfriend's, and he hopped into her car and wanted to go off with them, so we went off with them, and we went to their school, and Patty wanted to go down and play on the basketball court, and I'm sitting down there with him, and one of the kids throws a basketball at my head, and I was like, I knew it was trying to knock me out of something.
Knock you out of what?
Well, no, knock me out of my thinking. Like it was trying to go, stop it. Yeah. How gorgeous. Yeah. So we just reiterated a lot more easier tonight. So much. I actually nearly started crying right there and then, but I knew it was just tears that I needed to express. Yeah. That were being brought up by the ball. Yeah. Anyway, that was all my ramble was going to be. But again, it's just that whole thing. For me, it's about that. Actually, the feedback can be quite subtle. Like I knew there was something, and then obviously the ball was like, "Come on." Anyway.
Oh, beautiful, nice. Instead of abusing kids and anything else, it was all about me. You did so well.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. Stupid kids in your ball. Didn't even enter my head.
No, isn't it funny? Isn't it funny though, when you get to that point, you can't blame anybody. It's like, oh shit, okay.
Yes.
And that reaction.
It's funny. We were at Bunnings on the weekend, so I'll just share this quickly. And I witnessed this family. This guy was backing out, and he didn't see the kids that had walked up behind his van. And he nearly hit them, and the wife came running up behind the van and was banging on the back of it. And she grabbed her kids. They weren't young kids, they were older kids. And the parents were looking at each other, and it was like, oh, we better go and abuse him. So they walked over the drive and started abusing him. And I was just watching it going, oh wow, I wonder what was going on in your minds, like all of them, for what they just created. It was it was so interesting to watch. anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing too, is that you start looking at life. It's not hard. That's a terminology. I want to get rid of that. Just a perspective that you're looking at life from is that you watch everybody having these experiences, and then you go, wow, how did they get to that point? And that's my curiosity, and that's where I play from. And how do you get to that point? Like, I think we're talking about Serena today, and I was saying, and I said, yeah, but not only that, you know, even the Japanese girl who attracted that, and let alone the umpire that attracted that, like, and there was just so many people, components to the, yet they've all kind of missed that and honed in on the drama of somebody yet. And then I would go, well, then how the cartoonist attracted that, and then how everybody watching and having their own reaction attract, you know, like, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, okay, this is too much. Okay. I can have a coffee. It's so much easier. Cara.
Yeah, I really liked that. The 0 point thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a good reminder. Yeah. And just letting go of the pressure.
But
no
there's
pressure.
there is no pressure to let go of. That's what you got to realize.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. The only pressure that's there is that you've created in the moment of the conversation, as is when I share my story. So great advice from someone who's going to take advice. Just a note, I have got the 0 point painting for sale. Ha ha, pun. Okay, you got it. You want it. No, it's okay. In New Zealand.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, New Zealand. You know, it's over there. Gabrielle. No, we've done you. Vanessa.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the chat. Like, it was just lovely. Thank you all.
Oh, I love that.
That was gorgeous.
Just nice and simple. I want to go to bed now. Let's get out of here. No, that's cool. Okay,
don't feel like I have anything more to add.
No, thanks for triggering the conversation tonight, though, and totally liked winging it so much better. And it's nice just to have just chat about nothing. So on that note, I'll leave you in nothing. So there we go. Cheers, love.
See you, everyone. Lots of love. Bye. Thanks, Anne. Thanks, girls.
Ta.